The shuttle shook as it passed through the docking bay shields. Taeho gripped his seat and looked out the small window. The research station floated in the darkness of space like a giant metal flower. Its long arms stretched out in all directions, and thousands of tiny lights glowed from its windows. He had dreamed of this moment for years, a chance to work among the stars, a chance to prove that humans belonged out here with the rest of the galaxy. The shuttle landed with a soft bump. Taeho grabbed his bag and walked toward the exit door. His heart was beating fast. He was nervous, but he was also excited. The door opened and cold air rushed in. The station smelled strange. It was a mix of metal, plants, and something sweet that he could not name. Aliens of all shapes and sizes walked past him. Some had 4 arms, some had scales. Some floated instead of walked. Taeho tried not to stare, but it was hard. A robot rolled up to him. It had a round body and a screen that showed a simple smiley face. "Welcome to Horizon's Edge," the robot said in a cheerful voice. "You must be the human nutritionist. Please follow me to your quarters." Taeho followed the robot through long hallways. The walls were white and clean. Doors opened and closed as workers moved from room to room. He passed a window that looked out into space, and he stopped for a moment to stare at the distant stars. "Beautiful, is it not?" the robot asked. "Yes," Taeho whispered. "Very beautiful." His quarters were small but comfortable. There was a bed, a desk, and a window that looked out at a purple moon. The robot explained the rules of the station and told him to report to the food synthesis lab in the morning. That night, Taeho could not sleep. He lay in bed and thought about his mission. Humanity had only joined the Galactic Coalition 5 years ago. Most alien species still thought of humans as newcomers. Some thought of them as primitives. Taeho wanted to change that. He wanted to show them that humans had something valuable to offer. The next morning, he put on his uniform and walked to the food synthesis lab. It was a large room filled with machines, computers, and long tables covered with strange ingredients. The smells were overwhelming. Some were good, some were very bad. A 4-armed alien with gray skin and a serious face walked up to him. The alien was short and wide, with muscles that looked like rocks under his skin. "You are the human?" the alien asked. "Yes, my name is Taeho. I am Korvac. I am the medical officer here, but I also check on the food lab sometimes. Try not to poison anyone." Taeho was not sure if Korvac was joking. The alien's face showed no emotion. Before he could respond, Korvac walked away. Taeho looked around the lab. There were about a dozen workers, all from different species. Some ignored him. Some gave him curious looks. One small creature with big eyes waved at him, and he waved back. Then he saw her. She stood at a table near the back of the room. She was tall and thin, with pale blue skin that seemed to glow under the lights. Her hair was silver and fell straight down her back. Her eyes were large and dark, like deep pools of water. She wore a white lab coat and held a tablet in her long fingers. She was beautiful, but her face was cold. She looked at Taeho the way someone might look at a bug on their shoe. A worker next to him noticed where he was looking. "That is Lyra," the worker whispered. "She is Villani. Very smart, very cold. Do not expect her to be friendly." Taeho nodded. He had heard of the Villani. They were one of the oldest species in the Coalition. They were known for their intelligence and their discipline. They believed in logic and control. Emotions were considered weaknesses to them. He walked over to introduce himself. It was the polite thing to do. "Hello," he said. "I am Taeho. I am the new nutritionist. I look forward to working with you." Lyra looked up from her tablet. Her dark eyes studied him for a moment. Then she looked back down at her work. "Human," she said. Her voice was flat. "I have read about your species. Your food is made of dead animals and plants grown in dirt. Primitive." Taeho felt his face grow warm. "We call it natural. The nutrients in our food have kept humans healthy for thousands of years." "Thousands of years," Lyra repeated. She almost smiled, but not in a kind way. "My species has existed for millions of years. We synthesize our nutrients perfectly. No waste, no inefficiency. Perhaps you will learn something here." She walked away without another word. Taeho stood there, feeling embarrassed and angry. He took a deep breath. He told himself to stay calm. He was here to do a job, not to make friends. The days passed slowly. Tejo worked hard in the lab. He studied the station's food systems and learned how different species needed different nutrients. He was good at his job. And soon the other workers began to respect him. But Lyra never warmed up to him. She spoke to him only when necessary. She corrected his work in front of others. She made small comments about human limitations. Taiho tried to ignore her. He reminded himself that he was here for a bigger purpose. But sometimes, late at night, he wondered if the galaxy would ever accept humans as equals. One night, he stayed late in the lab. He was working on a special project. He wanted to create a new protein supplement for the human crew members on the station. Human bodies needed certain nutrients that alien food could not provide. If he could make a perfect supplement, it would help humans work better in space. He mixed amino acids, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates. He tested the formula again and again. Finally, he created a thick, golden liquid that contained everything a human body needed. He smiled at his creation. This was good work. This was something he could be proud of. He did not know that this simple formula would soon change everything. He did not know that it would change Lyra most of all. The lab was quiet. Most of the workers had gone to sleep hours ago. Only the soft hum of machines filled the air. Tai-Ho sat at his table, carefully measuring ingredients into a glass container. His eyes were tired, but he did not want to stop. The protein formula was almost perfect. Just a few more tests, and it would be ready. He held up the container and looked at the golden liquid inside. It glowed softly under the lab lights. He had worked on this for weeks. All those late nights were finally paying off. He placed the container on the table and reached for his tablet to record his notes. His fingers moved across the screen as he typed. Then the door opened. Tae-Ho jumped in surprise. His elbow hit the container, and time seemed to slow down. He watched in horror as the glass tipped over. The golden liquid spilled across the table and dripped onto the floor. "No, no, no," he whispered, trying to catch the container. But it was too late. Most of the formula was gone. He looked up to see who had startled him. Lyra stood in the doorway. Her dark eyes were wide with surprise. She had clearly not expected anyone to be in the lab at this hour. "What are you doing here?" she asked. Her voice was sharp. "I was working," Tae-Ho said. He looked down at the mess on his table. "What are you doing here?" "I forgot my tablet." She walked into the room, her long legs moving gracefully. "I did not think anyone would be foolish enough to work this late." Tae-Ho sighed. Of course she would insult him. He grabbed a cloth and started cleaning the spilled liquid. Lyra walked past him toward her workstation. But as she passed, her foot slipped on the wet floor. She lost her balance and fell forward. Tae-Ho reached out to catch her. His hands grabbed her arms, stopping her fall. But in that moment, the golden liquid on his hands touched her bare skin. The effect was immediate. Lyra gasped. A strange warmth spread through her arm where the liquid touched her. She pulled away from Tai-Ho and stared at her skin. The golden liquid was being absorbed into her body. She could see it disappearing, sinking into her pale blue flesh. "What is this?" she demanded. Her voice was filled with panic. "What did you do to me?" "It is just a nutrient formula," Tae-Ho said quickly. "It is for humans. It should not hurt you." But something was already happening. Lyra felt strange. There was a tingling sensation spreading through her whole body. It was not painful, but it was very strange. She looked down at herself and watched in shock as her body began to change. Her thin arms became slightly fuller. Her narrow waist began to curve. Her hips, which had always been sharp and angular, started to widen. Her chest, which had been almost flat, began to fill out. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no." She ran to a mirror on the wall. What she saw made her want to scream. Her body had changed completely. She was no longer thin and angular. She now had curves, soft, full curves that no Villani should ever have. Her hips were wide. Her chest was round. Her face, which had always been sharp, now looked softer. And worst of all, her skin was changing color. Her pale blue flesh was turning a deep violet. It started at her cheeks and spread down her neck. She was blushing, in front of a human, in front of him. "What have you done to me?" she screamed. Tae-Ho stood frozen. He did not understand what was happening. To him, Lyra looked healthy. She looked better than before, actually. Her body looked strong and full of life, but the look on her face told him that something was very, very wrong. I am sorry, and he said, I did not know this would happen. I did not know your species absorbs things through the skin. Of course we do, Lyra's voice was high and angry. Every species knows this about the Villani. How could you not know? Tejo felt terrible. She was right. He should have researched all the species on the station more carefully. This was his fault. We need to go to the medical bay, he said. Korvac can help. No! Lyra crossed her arms over her chest, trying to hide her new body. No one can see me like this. Do you understand? No one. Tejo did not understand, but he could see the fear in her eyes. This was more than just embarrassment. This was something deeper. Why? He asked gently. What is wrong with how you look? Lyra stared at him like he was crazy. Are you blind? Look at me. I am fat. I am soft. I am everything a Villani should not be. Tejo blinked. He looked at her body again. She was not fat. She was curvy, yes, but she looked healthy, strong, beautiful even. You look fine to me, he said. Fine? Lyra laughed, but there was no humor in it. You humans know nothing. In my culture, this body is a sign of weakness. It means a person has no control, no discipline. If anyone sees me like this, I will be shamed. My career will be ruined. Tejo finally began to understand. Different species had different ideas of beauty. What looked healthy to a human looked shameful to a Villani. I am truly sorry, he said again. I will fix this, I promise. Lyra's violet blush deepened. She turned away from him, unable to look at her own reflection anymore. How? She asked. Her voice was quiet now, almost broken. How will you fix this? Tejo did not have an answer, but he knew he had to find one. We need to talk to Korvac, he said. He is a doctor. He will know what to do, and I promise, we can trust him. He will not tell anyone. Lyra was silent for a long moment. Finally, she nodded. Fine, she said, but if you are wrong, if anyone else finds out about this, I will make sure you are sent back to your primitive planet forever. Tejo swallowed hard. He believed her. Together they walked through the empty hallways of the station. Lyra kept her head down, hiding her face. Her new body moved differently than before. She was not used to the weight of it. Tejo walked beside her, feeling guilty with every step. He had come to this station to prove that humans were valuable. Instead, he had made a terrible mistake. But he would not give up. He would find a way to help Lyra. He had to. The medical bay was dark when they arrived. Tejo pressed the emergency button, and after a few minutes the door opened. Korvac stood there in his sleeping clothes, his forearms crossed over his chest. His gray face looked annoyed. This better be important, the doctor said. I was having a very good dream. Then he saw Lyra. His eyes went wide. For a moment he said nothing. He just stared at her changed body. Lyra's skin turned an even deeper violet. She wanted to disappear. Inside, Korvac said quickly. Now. They walked into the medical bay, and Korvac closed the door behind them. He turned on the lights and pointed at a bed. Sit, he told Lyra. She sat down, keeping her arms wrapped around herself. She could not look at either of them. Korvac pulled out a scanning device and moved it over her body. The device made soft beeping sounds as it worked. Tejo stood nearby, watching nervously. Tell me what happened, Korvac said. Tejo explained everything. The late-night work, the spilled formula, how the liquid had touched Lyra's skin and been absorbed into her body. Korvac listened without interrupting. When Tejo finished, the doctor looked at his scanner and shook his head. The human nutrients are fully integrated into her cellular structure, he said. They have bonded with her body at the deepest level. What does that mean? Lyra asked. Her voice was shaking. It means I cannot remove them, Korvac said. Your body has accepted these nutrients as its own. Trying to remove them would be like trying to remove your blood. Lyra's face went pale. So I am stuck like this? Forever? No, not forever. Korvac put down his scanner. The nutrients will be used up over time. Your body will process them naturally, but it will take weeks. Maybe a month or more. A month? Lyra felt sick. How could she hide this body for a month? Is there nothing you can do to speed it up? Tejo asked. No, Korvac said. The process must happen naturally. Trying to rush it could hurt her. Lyra stood up suddenly. She walked to a mirror on the wall and stared at herself. This body was not hers. These curves, these soft shapes, they belonged to someone else. Someone weak, someone undisciplined. Tears formed in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Villani did not cry. Villani were strong, but she did not feel strong right now. Tai-Ho walked up behind her. He could see her face in the mirror. He could see her pain. "I am sorry," he said for what felt like the 100th time. "This is my fault. I will do whatever I can to help you." "How can you help?" Lyra asked bitterly. "Can you turn back time? Can you make me thin again?" "No," Tai-Ho admitted, "but I can help you hide. I can help you avoid others until this passes. You will not have to face this alone." Lyra turned to look at him. Her dark eyes studied his face. She was looking for lies, for tricks, but she saw only honesty. "Why would you help me?" she asked. "I have not been kind to you." Tai-Ho shrugged. "Because this is my fault, and because it is the right thing to do." Korvac cleared his throat. "If you two are done with your moment, I have some advice. Lyra, you should avoid public gatherings. Stay in your quarters as much as possible. I will adjust your work schedule so you can work during quiet hours." "Thank you," Lyra said quietly. "And you," Korvac pointed at Tai-Ho with two of his arms. "You will help her. You caused this mess, so you will clean it up. Bring her food. Cover for her when needed. Do not let her be seen." Tai-Ho nodded. "I understand." Korvac walked to the door and opened it. "Now get out. I want to go back to sleep." They left the medical bay and walked through the quiet hallways. It was very late now, and the station was almost empty. Lyra walked with her head down, her silver hair hiding her face. When they reached her quarters, she stopped at the door. She did not look at Tai-Ho. "I do not understand you humans," she said softly. "I have been rude to you since you arrived. I have called you primitive. I have insulted your food, your culture, your species. And yet you offer to help me. Why?" Tai-Ho thought about the question. It was a good question. "On Earth," he said, "we have a saying. We say that you should treat others how you want to be treated, even if they have not treated you well." "That is foolish," Lyra said, but her voice was not harsh. It was curious. "Maybe," Tai-Ho admitted, "but it is how I was raised, and I think it is a good way to live." Lyra was silent for a moment. Then she did something she had never done before. She looked at Tai-Ho directly and gave a small bow of her head. "Thank you," she said. The words seemed difficult for her to say. "I am not used to thanking people, but thank you." Tai-Ho smiled. "You are welcome. Get some rest. We will figure this out together." He walked away, leaving Lyra alone at her door. She watched him go, feeling confused. She had spent her whole life believing that other species were inferior, especially humans. They were new. They were primitive. They were nothing, but this human had shown her kindness when she deserved none. He had taken responsibility when he could have blamed her for entering the lab. He had offered help when he could have walked away. Maybe, she thought, there was more to humans than she believed. She entered her quarters and looked at herself in the mirror one more time. Her new body was still there, soft and curved and shameful. But for the first time, she did not cry. She did not feel so alone. The next few weeks were difficult. Lyra stayed in her quarters most of the time, only coming out during the quiet hours when few people were around. Tai-Ho kept his promise. He brought her food every day. He covered for her at work, telling others that she was busy with a special research project. At first, their time together was awkward. Lyra did not know how to talk to him. She had spent so long looking down on humans that she did not know how to treat one as an equal. But slowly things began to change. Tai-Ho would bring her meals and stay to eat with her. At first, they ate in silence. Then one day, Lyra asked him a question about Earth. "What is it like?" she asked. "Your planet. I have read about it, but reading is not the same as knowing." Tai-Ho's face lit up. He loved talking about his home. "Earth is beautiful," he said. "We have tall mountains covered in snow. We have oceans so big you cannot see the other side. We have forests where the trees are older than some civilizations." Lyra listened carefully. She had always thought of Earth as a backward planet, but the way Tai-Ho described it, it sounded almost magical. "And the people?" she asked. "What are humans like?" Tai-Ho thought for a moment. Humans are messy, he admitted. We make mistakes. We fight with each other sometimes. We can be selfish and short-sighted. That sounds terrible, Lyra said. But, Taiho continued, we are also kind. We help strangers. We build things together. We love deeply and forgive easily. We are not perfect, but we try. Lyra considered his words. The Villani valued perfection above all else. But perfection was cold. Perfection was lonely. Maybe, she thought, there was something to be said for being imperfect. As the days passed, Taiho noticed something interesting. Lyra seemed healthier than before. Her skin was brighter. Her eyes were more alert. She had more energy than he had ever seen from her. One evening he mentioned this to her. You seem different, he said carefully. Not just your body, you seem stronger. Lyra paused. She had noticed this too, but she had not wanted to admit it. I feel different, she said quietly. I used to be tired all the time. All Villani are tired. We thought it was normal. But now I have so much energy. I do not understand it. Taiho thought about this. Maybe it is the nutrients, he said. Human food is designed to give us strength and energy. Maybe your body needed those things too. Lyra frowned. Are you saying that our Villani diet is wrong? No, Taiho said quickly. I am just saying that maybe your bodies could use more than what they are getting. Different species need different things. Lyra wanted to argue with him. She wanted to defend her culture, her traditions, but she could not deny how she felt. She had never felt this alive before. Taiho also helped her with practical things. Her old clothes no longer fit her new body. He worked with the station's clothing machine to create new outfits for her. They were loose and flowing, designed to hide her curves without looking strange. Lyra looked at herself in the mirror, wearing one of the new dresses. She still did not like what she saw, but it was better than before. Thank you, she said. You are very thoughtful. Taiho smiled. I had 3 sisters growing up. I learned that clothing matters. 3 sisters? Lyra was surprised. What is that like? Chaotic, Taiho laughed. But wonderful. They taught me many things. How to listen, how to be patient, how to notice when someone needs help, even if they do not ask for it. Lyra thought about her own family. Villani families were small and cold. Parents taught their children discipline and logic. Emotions were discouraged. Closeness was rare. That sounds nice, she said softly. Having people who care about you. Taiho looked at her with gentle eyes. Everyone deserves that, Lyra. Everyone deserves to be cared for. Something shifted in Lyra's heart at that moment. She did not have a word for it. She only knew that when she looked at Taiho, she did not see a primitive human anymore. She saw a friend. One night, Lyra made a surprising decision. She invited Taiho to see her research. It was the first time she had ever shared her work with anyone outside her species. Her research was about energy systems. She was trying to find new ways to power starships. The math was complex and the science was beyond anything Taiho understood. But he listened carefully as she explained it. This is amazing, he said honestly. I do not understand half of it, but I can see how brilliant it is. Lyra felt her skin warm. She was blushing again, but this time it was not from shame. Thank you, she said. Most people do not care about my work. They think it is boring. It is not boring, Taiho said. It is important. You are trying to make the galaxy better. That is the opposite of boring. Lyra smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. She could not remember the last time she had truly smiled. They spent more time together after that. Lyra taught Taiho about Villani science and history. Taiho taught Lyra about human art and music. They discovered that despite their differences, they enjoyed each other's company. Weeks passed. Lyra's body slowly began to return to normal. The curves became softer. The fullness began to fade. But strangely, Lyra found that she did not mind her changed body as much as before. Maybe, she thought, there was nothing wrong with being soft. Maybe strength came in many forms, but their peaceful routine was about to be shattered. Someone had been watching. Someone had noticed Lyra's absence from public events. Someone was asking questions, and that someone was about to make their lives very difficult. Soren had been suspicious for weeks. He was a diplomat from the Villani homeworld, and he had come to the station to check on Villani workers. He was tall and thin, even by Villani standards. His face was sharp like a blade, and his eyes were cold. He had noticed that Lyra was missing from meetings. He had noticed that she only appeared during quiet hours. He had asked questions, but no one could give him good answers, so he decided to find out for himself. One afternoon, he followed Taiho through the station. He watched the human enter Lyra's quarters with a tray of food. He waited outside the door, listening. Then he pressed the emergency override button and walked in. Lyra was sitting at her table, eating with Taiho. When she saw Soren, her face went pale, then violet, then pale again. Soren stared at her body. His cold eyes moved from her wide hips to her full chest to her soft face. His expression was one of pure disgust. "What is this?" he asked. His voice was like ice. Lyra stood up, trying to find words, but nothing came out. Taeho stood up too. "This is none of your business," he said. Soren ignored him. He walked closer to Lyra, examining her like she was a strange animal. "I had heard rumors," he said slowly, "but I did not believe them. Lyra, one of our brightest scientists, looking like this. It is shameful." "It was an accident," Lyra said. Her voice was weak. "It will pass." "An accident?" Soren laughed coldly. "An accident that made you look like a soft, undisciplined creature? An accident that made you hide from your own people like a coward?" Lyra's eyes filled with tears. She tried to hold them back, but one escaped and rolled down her cheek. Soren saw the tear and his disgust deepened. "And now you cry? In front of a human? You are a disgrace to our species." Taeho stepped forward. "That is enough," he said firmly. Soren finally looked at him. "You, the human, you caused this, did you not? Your primitive nutrients did this to her." "It was an accident," Taeho said, "and I have been helping her recover." "Helping her?" Soren sneered. "You have ruined her, and now the entire station will know. I will make sure of it." Taeho felt his anger rising. He had stayed quiet for too long. He had watched Lyra suffer under the weight of her culture's cruel standards. He could not stay quiet anymore. "You want to tell everyone," Taeho said. His voice was calm but strong. "Fine, tell them. But when you do, tell them the whole truth." Soren raised an eyebrow. "The truth?" "Yes. Tell them that since Lyra absorbed those nutrients, her health has improved dramatically. Her energy levels are higher than any Villani on record. Her immune system is stronger. Her brain is working faster. She has done more research in the past month than she did in the entire year before." Soren's expression flickered with surprise. "That is impossible." "Is it?" Taeho pulled out a tablet. "I have been monitoring her progress with Dr. Korvac. Here are the numbers. Lyra is healthier than she has ever been. The question is not why she looks different. The question is why the Villani are so focused on appearance that they cannot see what really matters." The room was silent. Soren looked at the data on the tablet. His face showed confusion. The numbers did not lie. Lyra was genuinely healthier, but he quickly recovered. "It does not matter," he said. "Health is nothing compared to discipline. A proper body shows a proper mind. This softness, these curves, they are signs of weakness." "Says who?" Taeho asked. "Says our culture. Says our history. Says our entire civilization." Taeho shook his head. "On Earth, we have many different ideas of beauty. Tall, short, thin, curved, all of them can be beautiful. We do not believe that one body type is right and all others are wrong." "Humans are primitives," Soren said. "Your opinions mean nothing." "Maybe, but answer me this." Taeho looked directly into Soren's cold eyes. "If your culture's standards are so perfect, why are all Villani tired all the time? Why do you live shorter lives than species that eat like we do? Why do your people burn out so young?" Soren's face twisted with anger. "How dare you question our ways?" "I am not questioning them. I am just asking you to look at the evidence." Taeho gestured at Lyra. "Look at her. Really look. Does she seem weak to you? Does she seem undisciplined?" Soren looked at Lyra again. She was standing tall now. Her tears had stopped. There was fire in her eyes. "I am not weak," she said. Her voice was stronger than before. I am not ashamed, and I am tired of pretending to be something I am not. Soren took a step back. He had expected Lyra to beg for his silence. He had expected her to be broken, but she was not broken. She was standing up to him. You will regret this, he said. Both of you. I will bring this before the council, the Villani Council and the Station Council. You will be sent home in disgrace. He turned and walked out, the door closing behind him. The room was quiet. Lyra let out a long breath. Her body was shaking, but not from fear. It was from something else, something new. Taeho walked to her side. Are you okay? Lyra looked at him. Her dark eyes were bright. I think so, she said. For the first time in a long time, I think I am okay. She paused, then added, Thank you for standing up for me. No one has ever done that before. Taeho smiled. You stood up for yourself. That was the bravest part. Lyra's skin turned a soft violet, but she did not look away. She did not try to hide it. Maybe blushing was not so shameful after all. Maybe feelings were not weakness. Maybe everything she had been taught was wrong. Tomorrow they would face the council. Tomorrow there would be consequences. But tonight, Lyra felt something she had never felt before. She felt free. The council chamber was large and cold. Curved benches rose in circles around a central platform. Representatives from a dozen species sat in their assigned seats, watching with curious eyes. This was not a normal meeting. This was something special. Taeho stood on the central platform. His heart was beating fast, but he kept his face calm. Next to him stood Lyra. She was wearing one of the dresses he had made for her, but today she stood with her shoulders back. She was not hiding anymore. Soren stood across from them, his sharp face twisted with satisfaction. He had brought his complaint to the council, and now the whole station would witness the judgment. The head of the council was an old creature with green scales and tired eyes. His name was Elder Varric, and he had seen many conflicts in his long life. We are here, Varric said slowly, to discuss a complaint from diplomat Soren of the Villani. He claims that the human worker Taeho has caused harm to a fellow crew member. He also claims that this human should be removed from the station. Murmurs spread through the room. Many eyes turned toward Taeho. Some were curious. Some were hostile. Diplomat Soren, Varric continued, please present your case. Soren stepped forward with a cold smile. Thank you, Elder. The facts are simple. This human created a dangerous substance in our food lab. Through his carelessness, he exposed a respected Villani scientist to this substance. The result was a shameful transformation that brought disgrace to her and to our species. He pointed at Lyra. Look at her. Her body has been corrupted by human nutrients. She is no longer a proper Villani. She has been hiding from her duties for weeks. This is unacceptable. More murmurs filled the room. Some of the Villani representatives nodded in agreement. Soren continued. I demand that this human be removed from the station immediately. I also request that all human food products be banned from areas where they might contact other species. Humans are too primitive, too careless, to be trusted in advanced facilities like this one. He stepped back, looking pleased with himself. Elder Varric turned to Taeho. Human, do you wish to respond? Taeho took a deep breath. He looked around the room at all the alien faces. Some looked skeptical, some looked hostile, but some looked curious. Yes, Elder, I do. He stepped forward. First, I accept responsibility for the accident. The formula I created was for humans, and I should have been more careful. Lyra's condition is my fault, and I am sorry for it. Some of the hostility in the room seemed to ease. Honesty was respected by most species. But, Taeho continued, Diplomat Soren has not told you the whole truth. He has told you about Lyra's appearance. He has told you that she looks different, but he has not told you what that difference means. He pulled out his tablet and connected it to the chamber's display system. Data appeared on the large screens around the room. These are Lyra's health records before and after the accident. Before, she was tired all the time. Her immune system was weak. Her energy levels were low. This is normal for Villani. Everyone accepts it as the way things are. He pressed a button, and the data changed. These are her records now. Her energy levels are up by 40%. Her immune system is stronger than any Villani on record. Her cognitive function has increased by 15%. Her research output has doubled. The room fell silent. The representatives stared at the data with wide eyes. The nutrients that changed Lyra's appearance also made her healthier, Tejo said. They gave her body what it was missing. What all Villani bodies might be missing. Soren's face twisted with anger. This is manipulation. He is trying to distract from his crime. Is it a crime to make someone healthier? Tejo asked calmly. Is it a crime to help someone feel better than they have ever felt? He turned to face the Villani representatives directly. I understand that your culture values discipline and control. I respect that. But I do not understand why you believe that thin means strong and curved means weak. On Earth, we know that healthy bodies come in many shapes. We know that appearance does not determine worth. One of the Villani representatives, an older female, leaned forward. Are you saying our entire culture is wrong, human? No, Tejo said. I am saying that maybe some parts could be improved. Just like human culture can be improved. No species is perfect, but we can all learn from each other. Another voice spoke up. It was Korvac, the doctor, who had been sitting quietly in the back. I can confirm the human's data, Korvac said gruffly. I examined Lyra myself. The nutrients have made her healthier in every measurable way. Whatever they did to her appearance, they helped her body. That is a medical fact. More murmurs spread through the room. The mood was shifting. People were thinking. Then Lyra stepped forward. May I speak? She asked. Elder Varric nodded. You may. Lyra looked around the room. Her heart was pounding, but her voice was steady. I have been ashamed of my body for weeks, she said. I hid from my colleagues. I avoided my duties. I believed that my appearance made me worthless. She paused. But now I understand that I was wrong. I was wrong to hide. I was wrong to be ashamed. And our culture is wrong to make us feel this way. The Villani representatives shifted uncomfortably. No one had ever spoken like this before. Tejo helped me see things differently, Lyra continued. He showed me kindness when I deserved none. He judged me by my actions, not my appearance. He treated me like a person, not a body. She looked directly at Soren. That is more than my own people have done. Soren's face went pale with fury, but he stayed silent. Elder Varric raised his hand for quiet. This council has heard both sides, he said slowly. We will now vote on whether the human should be removed from the station. The vote was taken. To Soren's shock, the majority voted against removal. Species after species sided with Tejo. Even some of the Villani voted against Soren. The human will stay, Elder Varric announced. This matter is closed. Soren stormed out of the chamber without a word. As the crowd began to leave, many aliens stopped to speak with Tejo. Some thanked him for his honesty. Others asked about human nutrition. A few Villani quietly asked if they could learn more about human food. Lyra watched with wonder. In one day, Tejo had done more to change minds than years of diplomacy. Humanity, she realized, was not primitive at all. They were remarkable. 3 weeks had passed since the council meeting. Life on the station had changed in small but important ways. Tejo's nutrition lab was now the busiest place on Horizon's Edge. Species from all over the station came to ask questions about human food science. Some wanted supplements to help with their energy. Others wanted to understand how different nutrients affected different bodies. Tejo worked harder than ever, but he was happy. This was why he had come to space. Not just to prove that humans belonged, but to help others, to share knowledge, to make connections. The biggest surprise was the Villani. At first, only a few came secretly, asking about human nutrients in whispered voices. But as word spread about Lyra's improved health, more and more began to visit openly. A quiet revolution was beginning. Young Villani were questioning old beliefs. They were asking why their bodies had to look a certain way. They were wondering if there might be a better path. Soren had returned to the Villani homeworld in disgrace. His attempt to shame Lyra and remove Tejo had failed completely. Worse, it had made him look foolish. The council elders were not pleased with him. But Tejo did not think about Soren much. He was too busy with his work and his new friendships. And with Lyra. They spent most of their free time together now. They ate meals together. They watched stars together. They talked about everything, from science to philosophy to their childhoods. Lyra's body had mostly returned to its original shape. The curves had softened, the fullness had faded. She looked almost like she had before the accident. Almost. There were still some small changes. Her hips were slightly wider than before. Her face was slightly softer. Her body still held a hint of those human nutrients. But the biggest change was inside. Lyra no longer thought of her appearance with shame. She no longer judged herself by Villani standards. She had learned that there were many ways to be beautiful, many ways to be strong. She had learned this from a human. One evening, Taiho was sitting in the observation deck, looking out at the stars. This was his favorite place on the station. The view was incredible. Millions of stars stretched out in every direction, like diamonds scattered on black velvet. He heard footsteps behind him and turned to see Lyra approaching. She was wearing a simple blue dress that matched her skin. Her silver hair was loose around her shoulders. She was beautiful. He had always thought so, even when she was cold and distant. But now her beauty seemed to glow from within. "I knew I would find you here," she said, sitting down next to him. "Is it that obvious?" he asked with a smile. "Yes," she smiled back. "You are very predictable, human." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, watching the stars. "I have news," Lyra said finally. "Good news or bad news?" "Good, I think." She paused. "I have requested an extension of my assignment here. The station council approved it this morning." Taiho's heart jumped. "Really? How long will you stay?" "Another full year," Lyra said. "I told them I needed more time to continue my research." Taiho looked at her. "Your research?" Lyra's skin turned a soft violet. She looked away, suddenly shy. "Well, I also mentioned that I wanted to continue studying human culture. The council thought it was a good idea. Human-Villani relations have improved greatly since the incident. They want to encourage more cooperation." Taiho could not stop smiling. "That is wonderful news." Lyra finally looked at him again. Her dark eyes were warm. "Taiho," she said softly, "I never thanked you properly. You have thanked me many times." "No, I have thanked you for helping me hide, for defending me at the council, for making me clothes." She shook her head. "But I never thanked you for the most important thing." "What is that?" Lyra reached out and took his hand. Her blue fingers wrapped around his warm human skin. "You taught me that there is no single right way to be," she said. "You taught me that different can be beautiful. You taught me that kindness is not weakness." She squeezed his hand gently. "Before I met you, I thought humans were primitive. I thought your species had nothing to offer. But now I understand that humans have something many species have lost." "What is that?" Taiho asked quietly. "Heart," Lyra said simply. "You lead with your hearts. You feel deeply and love openly. You make mistakes, but you try to fix them. You see the best in others, even when they do not deserve it." She moved closer to him. "I spent my whole life trying to be perfect, cold, logical, controlled. But being with you has taught me that imperfection is not something to fear. It is something to embrace." Taiho looked at her for a long moment. Then he smiled. "On Earth," he said, "we have another saying. We say that the best things in life come from accidents." Lyra laughed softly. "Like spilling nutrition formula on alien scientists?" "Exactly like that." Her skin turned a deeper violet, but she did not look away. "Taiho," she said, "when my body changed, I was terrified. I thought my life was over. But now I realize that the accident was the best thing that ever happened to me." She leaned closer, her dark eyes meeting his. "Because it brought me to you." Taiho felt his heart swell with something warm and bright. He had come to this station hoping to change how aliens saw humans. He had not expected to change himself. He had not expected to find someone who understood him so completely. He had not expected to fall in love with an alien. But life was full of surprises, and the best surprises were the ones you never saw coming. "Lyra," he said, "I think we are going to have a very interesting year." She smiled, her skin glowing violet in the starlight. "I think you are right, human." They sat together, hand in hand, watching the stars spin slowly outside the window. Two people from different worlds, different species, different cultures. But in this moment, they were not so different at all. They were just two hearts, finding each other in the vast darkness of space, and somewhere out there, the galaxy kept spinning. New adventures were waiting, New challenges would come, but whatever happened, they would face it together. Because that was what humans did. They found connection, they built bridges, they brought warmth to the coldest corners of the universe, and sometimes they made alien girls blush.